Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Kitt. I'm a web designer. I design webs for local businesses. I design and manage websites, primarily in Thanet and East Kent. And this morning, I'm going to talk to you about current developments and future trends in web design. And in particular, I'm going to look at the impact that technology has on web design. And to do that, I'm going to explain a process that I think works. Now, this is the process. Just to really try and explain what I mean by this infographic is trying to show, at the top you can see the purple arrow, that's showing the new technology comes along. And when you get a new technology, that has an impact upon the way that people behave. Behaviour then, because businesses try and market their products and services depending on how we behave. So that then changes the way that services are marketed. And because I'm looking at this primarily from a web design perspective, I'm looking at how that impacts upon search engines. How does marketing change the way that search engines operate? And ultimately, any change in the way that a search engine operates will have an effect upon the design of the websites. And then what happens is a new technology comes along and it triggers the cycle again. One thing I do realise, this is a very simplified diagram in terms of the process. I realise obviously that marketing is there to actually affect behaviour in itself, so that there's a loop going on there. But nevertheless, I think in terms of the general trend of what's happening, I think this is a good explanation. So the first thing I'm going to look at then is an example of how I see this process working. Okay, so the first thing to look at is the growth of smartphones. I think everybody's aware that I think there was an Ofcom report recently, and it described the UK as a smartphone society. The growth of smartphones is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Just a couple of things to say about that though. Although we're now spending twice as long searching the internet using a smartphone, it's not that people actually prefer to use a smartphone. What it is that they're just more convenient. The other thing is that the growth of smartphones is not mutually exclusive. People that use smartphones also tend to use computers as well. So with the growth of smartphones have come mobile-friendly websites. Mobile-friendly websites, and this is Google, and these are the 4 criteria for a mobile-friendly website. And if you look at them, I won't read them out, you can read them for yourself, but if you look at them, they're all actually technical things. The first thing is don't use the wrong kind of software, make sure that the text is the right size, etc., etc. Now, mobile-friendly websites, really, if you can think of it, that's the new technology. It's all technical, and what I'm going to look at this morning is how the change in this technology has had an impact upon the actual design of the website. Lots of people think because they have a mobile-friendly website, that website is optimized for the best use with a mobile device. That's not necessarily the case. It just means it works technically on a mobile device. Okay, so if you think about that, the process that I talked about, so the first thing we had is the technology. How does that affect behaviour? Well, if you look at the way that people actually use their mobile devices, they use them in a very different way than the way that people search generally on the internet using a laptop or a computer. Most of the searches, they don't tend to surf. When you're using a mobile phone, you're looking for something specific. It's you have a particular question that you want the answer to. Will this shop still be open when I get there? Can I find this cheaper somewhere else? It's those type of questions, rather than generally when you go onto the internet and you go on your surf and you follow links and you go onto different websites. So it's a different type of activity. How's that impacted then upon the marketing? Well, Google have come up with this concept called the micro moment. And there are 4. I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, and I want to buy. And I've given you an example of each of these. And the best way to actually describe what a micro moment is, A micro moment, the definition really is, it's a way that you interact with the internet, but it's a spur of the moment thing. And it's all about getting the right information at a particular moment in time. And let me give you an example of that. According to Google, 1 in 3 people have actually gone on to buy a different product or service than the one that they actually intended to buy because of information that was available at the time that they needed it. And what that means is, for an example, you've gone in, say, to somewhere to buy a new television, you go in, you look at the televisions, and then you think, oh, I'll just check the price and see if I can get it better on the internet or buy it better somewhere else. And you think, oh, yes, I can. That's because you got that information at the particular time you need it. That's a description of a micro moment. So then, let's looking at the marketing. So the next thing we'll look at is how that affects the way that the search engines operate. Now, the search engines need to make sure that they cater for these micro moments. So they've developed something called semantic search. All semantic search means, semantic just means meaning, and it's trying to understand the meaning behind the search. What do you actually mean by that? And it uses lots of clever artificial intelligence and algorithms to do that. The simplest way really to explain semantic search is to give you an example. So let's say, for example, you wanted to buy a pizza in Margate. In the past, you'd have just typed in the search engine terms, you typed in the keywords or search terms, best pizzas in Margate. And if you were selling pizzas and you had a website and you had those words on it, best pizzas in Margate, then the chances are that website would come up and you'd rank well. But with semantic search, it's rather different. The first thing it'll do is look at your location. You've asked for the best pizzas in Margate. You don't want to drive all over Margate looking for a pizza, so it will look for Margate for pizza restaurants or pizza outlets in the proximity of where you are. The second thing is you've asked for the best pizzas in Margate, so it will then look for positive reviews. That's not just positive reviews on your own website, that's positive reviews on other review websites. For example, I tell a lot of my clients that they should try and sign up with things like Google Business. Google Business allows your customers to leave reviews of your business. And not only can you leave a review, but you can leave like a 5-star review. So review sites like Yelp, and there are any number of them, will also have an impact upon how well your website ranks and how easy it is for people to find that website. The next thing it will do is look at the menu and selection. If you're looking for the best pizza in Margate, you may also want a beverage. You may also want dessert. You'll want a range of toppings. So it will look and say, you know, to be the best pizza in Margate, you will have to fulfill these criteria and you will have to prove it. It will also look at your past user behavior. Have you searched for this before? If you did, which websites did you visit? If you visited those websites, did you leave a review yourself? Did you order something online? So it's going to be looking at that. The next one, social media presence, is slightly more controversial. And the reason I say that is because, according to Google, there are about 200 different factors that they take into account when they rank a website. By ranking a website, that's how high it appears when you're searching for it on the results page. Now, Google have stated time and time again that they do not use social media as a ranking factor. Nevertheless, that's very difficult to believe because Google are very close-lipped in what those ranking factors are because they don't want people to manipulate them. And you've got to think that if there's a buzz around a particular pizza restaurant, if people are posting pictures of themselves with their pizza, you know, on Facebook and other social media outlets, if there's a lot of people talking about it, that must have an impact. And finally, you'd also look at the backlinks. That's the links going into your website. And really, I'll put this in because it's indicative of all of those other factors. And we know that backlinks and inbound links are a major ranking factor. So semantic search takes all of that information into account. So then how does that affect, ultimately, how does that affect the website? Well, you have to change the way that the websites operate. First of all, and what I've shown you here is the same website. It's the website that I actually designed and developed for a mortgage brokers down in Maidstone. And it's the same website, but you can see the original website that I developed, say, about 2 or 3 years ago, and the latest version underneath it. The major difference is that we're now using a mobile-friendly website. We're using this new technology. We want to use it in a way that works. So the paradigm for the old website was that you would look at it and say, it has to look like a magazine article. So it will have lots of different pieces of information, little coloured boxes here and photographs here and there. What we want on the new one is we want an uncluttered full page. Remember, this is a dynamic in that it will change shape to best accommodate whichever device you're looking at it. So we want to make it simple to use. And we want to look at 4 things. There are 4 things that people want to know when they first go onto a website, particularly to fulfill those micro moments, those marketing and a change in behaviour. They want to know whose website is it. So at the top of the page we put the logo or the brand. They want to know, what do you do? So underneath that we put, on this occasion, welcome to Rosemount Mortgage Planning. We're an independent mortgage advisor in Maidstone, for example. So they want to know who you are, what you do, can I trust you? That's where all these review sites come in. So Google goes off and looks for all these review sites. But also we can put testimonials on the website itself. We put all of this on the front page. And at the bottom of the page, we'll say, how do we get in contact with you? So we put the contact form. So as you scroll down the page, you say, who is it? What do they do? Can I trust them? How do I get in contact? So that's really how the technology has changed the design of the website. So that's the current development side. Let's have a look now at some of the future trends. And the next trend, and the thing that's starting to take off for the moment, is voice search. Voice search is growing exponentially. At the moment, people tend to only use voice search if they're doing something else. They might be sort of on an exercise machine or something, and they think, well, I can use that one and do that, but it's growing all the time. And just so that we understand what I mean by voice search, let me just give you a brief overview of what voice search entails. Originally, voice search was just about voice-activated search. All that meant was using voice commands to activate or to search the internet. So you're using the same search terms as you type in, you just speak them. And then a bit later, Apple came along, and if any of you have an Apple iPhone or an iPad, there's a system called Siri. And Siri will actually speak back to you. So it's more than voice search. It gives you a more interactive experience, if you like. And then Google responded to that on the Android platform, and they've come up with something which they call Google Now, which, although it doesn't have a voice itself, it won't speak back to you, is far more interactive and will do more things for you than simply search the internet. And there was a major change. And believe it or not, it came from Amazon, and they've come up with the first, what they call digital assistant. Amazon have a thing called Amazon Echo, and it's this sort of black box of Pringles. And what it does is it has inside it a thing called Alexa. They call it Alexa. And Alexa is actually, you can speak to it, you can ask it questions, and it will answer you, and it will interact. It will interact with other devices in your home. Google have come up with their own version, which they've called Google Home or Smart Home, and the actual thing is called the Google Assistant, and it hasn't been released yet. These are the initial pictures that we're looking at of it, and basically what it's aiming to do is taking search away from the phone and away from the computer and putting it in your home, so you can walk around and interact and speak with it. They want it, they're trying to make it more user-friendly, and to do that they've gone to our good people at Pixar and asked them to develop a personality for this thing. Not only will it have a personality, but it will also have a fictional childhood, so that it's easier to relate to. And this is the thing that will actually order your pizza and do everything for you. So that's where we are. That's the latest in terms of the technology, in terms of voice search. But actually, how does voice search work? Let me give you, this is an example. I hope everybody can read it. It's probably a bit small if you're right at the back. The first thing you'll notice about it is that it's a lot longer than normal search. In fact, typically when you type in, you have to type something, you type 2 or 3 words. This is trying to approximate natural speech. Now, the second thing to notice about it is just how complicated that search is. So it's saying, show me hotels in San Francisco, show them for a particular time, a particular date, for a particular duration, and also at a particular cost, And then it also has to be pet friendly, and they have to have a gym and a pool. Now, if you actually had to search for that, first of all, you'd search for hotels in San Francisco within your price range. Once you've got that, then you'd go back and you'd search within each of those websites, and you'd search to see, are they available on the times I want them? And then you'd go back and do another search, and you say, are they pet friendly, and do they have the other, variables that you've asked for? So there are sort of at least three or four different searches there that you can do all in one go, just using voice search. The second thing is, look at you get the response back, and either speak it back to you, or it will play it back on your TV, on your computer, or on your phone. And you'll get the list, and you'll be able to choose what you want. But then you can ask it a supplementary question. So look at the supplementary question. It says, sort by lowest price, but nothing less than $2.50. Well, the first thing is, it's a conversation. It's remembered what you said the first time. You don't have to initiate a whole brand new search. You don't have to say, search for hotels in San Francisco these days, etc., etc. Again, it's remembered. You just say, search by lowest price. And then you say, nothing less than $2.50. It knows that $2.50 means $250 US. You've never used the term $2.50 before. And then just to really confuse the thing, you throw in a double negative, and you say, don't show me anything that doesn't have Wi-Fi. Can you imagine trying to type that into a search engine today, and you put that information in, you'd get all sorts of things come out, put in a double negative in. So that's really why I think that voice search is so powerful. How then do you optimize your website for voice search? So that's the important thing. The first thing, obviously, you have to have the technology in place. You'd have to have a mobile-friendly website. The second thing is, because you're using natural speech, you try to use natural speech as far as possible on your website. But if you look through the list of the things you need to do, you'll find that they look very, very similar to the things that you would have to do for semantic search. And that's because they are both based upon the same technology. And for all that voice search is the development of that technology. And the development, and this is sort of to lift up the bonnet and show you a quick peek under the engine, is something called Schema Markup. Schema Markup is a really powerful form of search engine optimization, and it's used, it was actually developed by the top three search engines. That's by Google, by Bing, and by Yahoo, recently bought out by another company. And what's important about Schema is that you can't actually see it on the web page. It's actually drilling down into the databases that run the website. And because Google is a search engine, it's saying, for example, it's writing code in the website and saying, when you come to this website, look for reviews. I don't have to put look for reviews on these websites. I say, it's Google, you're a search engine, off you go Google, look for reviews. And it will go and look for reviews on all those other review sites that I mentioned earlier. Also, it can do things that in the past, when it was first introduced, there was an opportunity I put, this is a local business, this website's about a local business. Now I can do a lot more detail, so I can say I'm a web designer, I can say this website is about web design. So that without putting anything of that on the page, Google will think, right, I know that this is what, so anybody looking for that information will find it because of the Schema Markup. So that's Schema Markup. I'll finish now briefly just by a quick look into the future. And I think these will be, in terms of the process that I talked about at the beginning, these will be the triggers. Let's say the new technology triggers that will trigger that process. So the first one is the physical web. Now, what is the physical web? The physical web is objects in the environment actually generating websites. Let me give you an example of this. Say you went to New York. If you went to New York and you wanted to get a taxi, or you wanted to book a restaurant, you'd probably at the moment have to get an app on your phone, and you download it and it would give you that. This does away with all of that. What it does is it says, if you happen to be walking near a taxi rank, or you happen to be walking near a restaurant, it will beam out, and you can pick it up on your phone, a website which you can say, okay, I want to book tickets for that, or you might go past a movie poster, and it will say, and you'll be able to say, okay, I'm interested in the Jungle Book. Can you show me reviews of the Jungle Book? Can you play me a clip of the film of the Jungle Book? Can you book me tickets for 6 o'clock for so many people? You can do all of that. So that's the idea of the physical web, is to bring websites out into the real world, if you like. The second thing is I've been talking a lot this morning about voice-activated search. The next thing will be voice-activated websites, so that you can actually interrogate the website yourself. So go back to our example of the hotel in San Francisco. You can actually go back and say, do you do a vegetarian option, for example? You wouldn't have to go and type it in search, you just ask the website and it would come back with its response. The third one, I think there will continue to be a separation between desktop and mobile websites. At the moment, you have a website, you have your main website, and then you'll have a version of that website on your mobile phone. What's tending to happen, let me give you an example of how this tends to is you get a slightly different looking website on your mobile phone because it will realise that you're searching for it using a mobile or using a tablet or whatever it might be. And an example of this is with the airlines. At the moment, you go onto the main website, with some of the airlines trying this, you'll go on there and you'll book your ticket. But when you go onto the same website on your mobile phone, it will tell you all about departures and arrivals. It's the information that you want as you're going into the airport. Finally, I think there will be more intelligent household devices. What do I mean by that? Basically, what that is, it's like the physical web is out there in the real world. It's bringing that into the home. So it will be, if you have a microwave, you will no longer have to, for example, look up one of these sort of guidebooks or user manuals, which is in 100 different languages. It will simply play you a video, or it will play you a website with a video, with instructions, and you'll be able to view that on your phone, on your computer, on your television, whichever is convenient for you. You'll be able to get service details, all of that information. So, and the reason I think this will become more useful is obviously the drawback with using the digital assistant, the Echo or the Google Home, is that it's learning about what you do all the time. And a lot of people think that there is a huge privacy issue here. There's a spy in your home sitting there learning all about your behaviour, your preferences, and you think, well, do I really want GCHQ monitoring every move I make? And so, wouldn't it be nicer if I could have a personal relationship with my toaster? That it was on a one-to-one. There's no intermediary looking in between. So that's how I see the future, and those are the triggers I see in terms of website development. So thank you. Just brings me to say thank you for listening. And obviously happy to take any questions, if it wasn't too overwhelming.
Peter?
Jeremy, I found your forecast, the vision you have for the future quite interesting. I have a web-based business and I'm paying £75 a day at the moment to Google.
Really?
Do you have an alternative?
Yes. You're paying way too much. But I say that, you're going to have to look at the terms of what exactly they're offering and how many pages, etc. But I'd be happy to sit down with you and reflect on a one-to-one basis.
Thank you.
More than happy.
When you mentioned the device that's not on the market yet,
Yes.
you mentioned a fictional childhood. What
Yes, yeah, this is crazy, isn't it? They've actually, what they thought is that we don't want you to think you're talking to a machine, okay? So we're going to develop a personality for this. If you've ever watched Star Trek and you sort of Captain Picard and he's walking around in his hey computer and it does all these things, it's that sort of concept. So it's going to be more vulnerable so that we can relate to it because after all it is just a machine. And they thought, well, we don't want it to sound like a machine. We want it to be more personal, and have its own problems and issues and things.
So a bit like the sat nav that we all shout at.
Yeah, but this one will take offence. He'll be hurt. I know it's crazy, but they do.
Jeremy's kindly agreed that if anyone wants to, in fact Peter of course, wants to speak further and ask further questions, he's willing to stay on afterwards. I'll ask at this stage if Rob at the age would like to give a vote of thanks, please.
Yep, certainly. Jeremy, thank you very much for
Thank you. Well, thanks for listening.
Lots of facts and figures. I know that those people here will be really interested in it. Might have to teach them about smartphone side, that might be interesting, but yeah, really interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, on behalf of the club, thanks very much for coming.
So Jeremy, as a token of appreciation, I will present you not with a rotary pen.
Oh, thank you very much.
We hope you'll
I will treasure that.
use
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.